In this video, we're going to talk about why you may be block sanding your primer, but you keep sanding through the metal. So I had a question on YouTube. Fred Jones asks, "Thanks brother, great video as usual. My issue is I have a small area where I sanded through. You told me to use edge primer, then primer surfacer, then block with 320. Every time I block sand with 320, it takes the primer surfacer and the edge primer off again. I use 3 coats of primer surfacer and a light coat of edge primer. I do have epoxy primer, beige color. Should I try that over the bare metal and then primer surfacer and then block with 320 to see if I get different results? This is new to me and I'm not giving up. Please help." So the problem you're having is your block sanding and metal keeps showing up, and I don't think it's the type of primer. I mean, you do want to use either edge primer on bare metal, epoxy, either one, your preference, or a primer surfacer that is direct to metal, that is designed to go to metal. If you just put primer surfacer on top of metal and it's not a DTM, direct to metal, you're not going to have the corrosion protection that you should have. But I don't think this is your problem right now, the type of primer. Reading this, I think you're having a problem with the high spot. There's a high in the metal. And I think this, just to back up a little, I'll give you how you might fix this for now. But to back up a little, I think this is the problem. Whenever doing your metal work, there's probably a dent there. And anytime there's a dent, there's a low and then there's a high. Just like if you lay down on the air mattress, how when you lay down, it pushes up somewhere else. Or like water, something splashes in the water, it usually makes ripples or waves. Well, metal's the same way. When something causes it to go down, there's usually a high somewhere. And the high is kind of your secondary damage. It's not real noticeable. It's a little harder to find than the direct damage, which is the dent. You can see that a lot of times, and I've seen this a lot, where you try to raise that low out, and you do, and here's your high and here's your low. You raise the low out, but then you just raise that high up too, and it's still, affecting the surface. And it's easy to miss because it's not real noticeable. But when you go to do your body filler work, that spot's going to keep hitting, or going to bare metal again. And then whenever you start doing your priming and blocking, that high spot's just going to keep sanding off. And there's really no way to fix that unless you go back to straightening your metal. Now, what you may do for right now to see if it works, if it's just a very minor high area there, but to get it like a pick hammer and use this part right here and just lightly tap on that metal that's keeps sanding through every time. And you don't want to hit it hard. You just want to try to lower that a little bit, so when the next time you prime and block it, maybe it won't sand through again. But I think after reading this, I think that is the problem you're having, is maybe you're not paying attention to that secondary. And this is a common mistake. I mean, a lot of people do this. You have a tendency just to raise that direct damage out. But the way to do this when you're straightening your metal, as you're trying to raise that low out, fill the metal with your bare hand. Make sure it's the flat of your hand, not your fingertips, and kind of identify where that high is at. And as you're trying to raise that low, tap down on that high. So that way, as you're raising the dent, you're moving the high at the same time, and then that will eliminate you from having that problem. So that's a common problem. A great question, because I do see that quite often, and it's just something you have to get used to, is trying to find that indirect damage to locate it and work the highs down as you raise that metal. So give that some thought as you're doing any more metal work. Like I said, that is the indirect damage. The highs are a lot harder to find. They're not visible to you like the direct damage, like the dent. But if you'll concentrate on that. Now, it's actually more important, because like this problem you're having, if you don't raise that down, it's just going to keep popping out on you. Now, if it's a little bit low, that's going to fill in. So that won't give you problems, but the highs are just going to keep reappearing. And if this is not the issue you're having, if I didn't read that correctly and maybe it's something a little different than I thought, be sure and leave me another comment below, and I'll try to further answer that question. But I'm pretty sure, and I've seen it, that happen a lot, that is your problem. So hopefully that helps. If you like this video, be sure and give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions, leave a comment below or on any of my other videos, and I'll try to answer them either by typing, or if it's too, like this would be hard to really discuss or explain you know, in a comment, so I'll make a video in it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.